Hey, hey. Yeah.
Is that a zombie? Is that a zombie in our Twitter space?
I don't know, man. Was that Jose?
Hello, hello
Um,
everyone.
Good evening. The music is kind of getting me in the mood. Definitely not what Last Remains is all about, but look at that! Look at that Last Remains icon. Not what I want to see when I'm getting in the mood.
Yeah. I can see
But
that
I am
zombie
joined
vibing
by
us right
two
now.
very sultry people tonight, um, Coop and Jose. Do want to get into this space, but we'll just let the last little stragglers here come on to the space. It's the first public AMA that we're doing on Twitter for Last Remains, so pretty excited about it.
I think the music is the music on the helicopter when they save you. This is what they play.
That would be sick. I'm all down for that.
I still think that we should do the Monster Mash as like the intro music. Anyway, that's a running joke. All right. Thank you for joining wherever you are in the world. We know that our Twitter spaces get people from all over the world, so thank you for joining. We're going to talk games tonight, today. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. And the two people that I'm joined by today are Coop, the CEO and founder of Earn Alliance, and Jose, the head of community. I lead growth at Earn Alliance, and one of the key things that um, Earn Studios is building out is Last Remains. Let me just summarize it for you in one very short sentence. It's zombie survival crossed with battle royale. And if you're a gamer, you know what that means. It's exciting. I don't think there's anything else out there like it. Um, I've seen the gameplay. There's a few other, um, game influencers out there and streamers who have seen the gameplay as well. And they're very, very soon going to start releasing some of that footage out. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. Um, Anyway, without further ado, I'd just get Coop up here first just to give a quick hello and intro to who you are.
Cool. I'm Coop. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. And yeah, pretty much I've been making games all my life. And I took a break from games for about 3 years and just got back into it ever since watching what the Web3 game community has been doing. It's just exciting. I couldn't help myself, had to come right back in. So this would be my sixth startup and five which I've done gaming. And yeah, I guess a fun fact is I probably put 5,000 hours into Counter Strike starting in version 1.3. That's a little bit about myself.
5,000 hours, those are rookie numbers. I know we got some hardcore gamers who could put up some even bigger numbers, but we'll have to have them on as guests for our next space. Jose, have you got any good numbers for us?
Sorry, I missed that. Was that for me?
Yeah, man. Welcome to the
Uh,
space. Give us a quick intro, and do you have any gaming metrics?
Not as impressive as 5,000 hours, but I do play lots of games. I've always loved playing games all my life. So I'm Jose. I'm the community manager for Earn Alliance on Last Remains. Probably many of you here can recognize me. I'm the one always tagging everyone, and sorry about that. but I'm super happy. I can see a lot of our community and faces are recognized around in the public. So thanks for joining. And I'm super excited about Turn Alliance and Last Remains. I've been lucky to play it and it looks awesome. Nothing out there compared to it. You're absolutely right.
Yep, 100%. Once again, for those of you who've just joined, we're talking Last Remains, a zombie survival cross with Battle Royale. So let's dig into it. What are we going to cover? We're going to cover just some behind the scenes around game design, development. We do want to reward people, right? Jose's prepped a whole bunch of different things for the community, people who are involved with us early, even in like the developmental stages for Last Remains. So we have some whitelist campaigns and rewards to give away. And we're going to go into a little bit. Well, I really like to see developer updates, and we're going to kind of do one. This one's a Twitter space, but you guys can certainly look out for game streams in the future. So, if anything, I'd say this is maybe, the one and only Twitter space alone that we do without any game footage. Next time, you should definitely expect some, well, YouTube, maybe Twitch streams. Looking forward to doing those with our lovely, well-known gamers in the space. Um, so, shall we start with just a couple of questions? Where did this idea come from? Last Remains. Coop, you want to give us a bit of a rundown?
Yeah, sure. So, the game designer is not with us today. He is a hardcore Street Fighter player, and he's getting old. He's now 40 something. And I know that that's not that old, but what happens to gamers after they pass 30 is their reaction time just doesn't go that good, you know? Um, it's just, you just can't shoot people and react with Street Fighter as quick as he can. So he started shifting his games into more stealth games. He became very addicted to Elden Ring recently, and then yeah, Dark Souls is probably where this all like really was inspired of, and The Last of Us, and he kind of just went down this dark path of playing a lot of those games. And since that's what he really got into, he also co-founded a studio called Render Games, and they focus on outsourcing for some of the biggest games in the world. Um, everything from like Bethesda to Riot Games to Tencent. So he pretty much just focuses on creating 3D art and animation. And he's been wanting to make a game again. And I met this guy, his name was Larry Lee, about 10 years ago. We built a game company together. And when he started talking about Last Remains, it essentially came from those inspirations, but also wanting them to be very competitive, going back to the roots of Street Fighter. So yeah, it pretty much turned out into a battle royale, but it's slow paced and stealth. So again, this is a game that if you've heard of it before, you can't just go running around and shooting up the place because you'll attract all the zombies and die. You need to sneak around, get around these zombies, and take them out one at a time. Unless you find a katana, you can kind of take them all out and have a lot of fun with it. So that's a bit about where it all came from.
I've yet to find a katana. I was so jealous when I saw someone find. I think it was Noah who picked up a katana. Oh man, I I think most people who gamers would know battle royales took kind of front and center, front stage. Um, PUBG, Fortnite, uh, people love those games, and so seeing a zombie survival crossover, or not crossover, but a game that is crossing those two categories is, uh, I'm gonna do like one of those perfect cooking kisses. You're gonna just have to picture me with that Italian motion. But yeah, I cannot wait till everyone else gets to see this on YouTube and Twitch. So, all right, Jose, we're also doing stuff from the perspective of like Web3. We're gonna make like Last Remains a game that takes advantage of all the new ways of staying in touch with community, the strength in numbers and the ability to pull, people with combined or shared interests. And that's something that we see very strongly in Web3. Um, and in that vein, we're also running a whole bunch of different whitelist campaigns and rewards. Could you give us a quick summary of these? Because I think a few people in this space would be very interested to know.
Yeah. First of all, going back to the last question, I'm 40, and let me tell you all, 40s is the new 30s. I'm still a gamer. Yeah, my reflexes are not as quick, but I do still play and try to mash the buttons as fast as I can. Regarding the whitelist and how we're integrating this with Web3, it's super exciting to have the ability to own the actual characters and own what's happening in the game and use these to get even more rewards. Something that we see with Web3 is that the community is a lot more engaged than in normal Web2 because you actually own part of the game. Is your things like if I thinking back into Street Fighter, back as it was mentioned, it would be awesome to actually own these characters and be part of the actual game. So we're doing some whitelists, and tomorrow is the actual minting of the first round of whitelist badges. So these badges will give you actually characters later on in a couple of months. So having these whitelist badges minted tomorrow is the first step to get a character. So we're super excited. We've given a big number. It's the first one. So we've invited a lot of people to have this whitelist, and we are gonna keep doing them so more people can actually participate and own a piece of this game because it's all about the community and it's all about all playing together.
So I've seen it a few times, free to own, free own, these free to own characters. Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like, what can a gamer expect if we have one of these? Coop, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. So free to own, loving it. It's essentially the like I guess the way that people mint characters now and mint NFTs now due to the market. But actually for games, this is really good because it allows the community to really get involved and support. And we're trying to give out like these characters to a very small group of our community at the beginning so that they can reap the rewards. So what free to own NFTs are and what you're going to get out of it is that these NFTs will get you access to our game starting in May. So we're aiming for May to do I guess you could call it a private beta for anybody that holds an NFT. They'll actually be able to play the game with us. Even before then, we're hoping to have streaming opportunities and like opportunities to join the team and actually like talk with us as we start playing. We play every week, so we'd love to invite some people into it. And then it'll also give you access to the staking game. So we're making a gamified staking rewards where you can't just stake the characters. You actually have to play with them on chain and combine them with the right equipment in order to reap the rewards. So we'll get a little more into that a little later. And then finally, you'll get access to the actual season one game. So our characters act as battle passes. So when you play the game, you'll be able to find skins and NFTs. And if you somehow survive, if you're one of the three that get out, you'll be able to actually take those NFTs and bring them to the blockchain. So only if you have a free to own NFT, and we'll also talk about the other types of characters that are available, you'll be able to take your loot that you find and bring it to the blockchain.
That's awesome stuff. Great use of like the new technology that like came with blockchain and Web3. I think anybody who's in Web3 and looks for projects that they love and can get involved and feel like they're a part of the development and feel like they're a part of like the success of the game, they want to know like where to from here because a lot of the people in this Twitter space, they may be Web3 or crypto native. Um, is there an angle for which Last Remains goes out and finds all of those gamers who may not be crypto native, and anyone who's a Web3 native or a crypto native and is also a gamer, knows that Last Remains and having a zombie survival crossed with a battle royale has massive potential in the gamer, like the wider gamer community. Is, you know, is there a particular angle that we're taking with Last Remains that will make sure that we reach that kind of audience too?
So if I'm getting the question correctly, how are we going to reach the Web 2 just general gamer audience as well, aside from Web 3?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So characters today, we're starting with Web 3. Like I just think the reason why I'm here and have came to join, crypto and build a crypto company with these fine fellows up here in our team is because Web3 feels like community. It feels like that time where you can actually go into Discord, you can have an open conversation and have them influence things very early on. It feels like something we can build together in the sense that we can start sharing raw ideas and post raw drafts. Like everything that you'll find that's live now is a draft. And that's why we're on the Web3 side first, is I feel like we can all really come together if you're interested to partake and we're here to listen. Like, and everything we release and everything that we say could be shaped by the community. And that's really why the Web3 side started off. In terms of what's actually important is the adoption of gamers. And how we're going to do that is the characters allow you to, when you own a character and then you own an NFT, it allows you to partake in taking those rewards that you find, the loot, the NFTs, the skins that you can find in game and bring them to the blockchain. But for free to play players, people who just come to the game, install the game, be it on the App Store or hopefully one, we're hoping to get on the Unreal store as well. When you play the game for free, you'll just be able to play without a wallet. You'll be able to play without knowing that there's a marketplace and that blockchain is required. You could just install, pick up a free character. There's two free options, male and female, and then you'll be able to play the game. The only limitation when you do not own an NFT or you're not partaking in it is that all the loot that you can find is soul bound, and you won't actually be able to take those to the blockchain. So we do want to be fully native to free to play, and we want the game to feel like just a general free to play game, like as if no crypto was really involved. It's only when you want to explore outside and like start, looking into purchasing, skins or looking into potentially monetizing or looking in to be extremely competitive because there's going to be a lot of different types of esports related things here that we haven't talked about yet that will you can get involved and you can get more involved if you had a wallet. So hopefully we'll have kind of like a carrot at the end of the stick for traditional gamers to explore wallets in Web3 as well.
That's just, yeah, massive potential. And I would be looking forward to the moment when a gamer is playing Last Remains, they get a rare drop, having been one of the three lucky people to escape, and then finding out that someone else in the world really, really wants that drop and is willing to buy it from them. That is just some of the things, like one of the key scenarios that I really look forward to seeing. Um, but I think one thing that a lot of Web3 natives hear way too often is that you're early. But when I say this time, there is no doubt about it. This is the first Twitter space that we're doing for Last Remains, and future, AMAs and future public events that we do for Last Remains will involve streaming of the gameplay and things like that. So if anything, it couldn't be earlier than this for you to get involved. There's a lot that will happen between now and the public release of the game, and there's a few things that we can cover. So we can talk a little bit about roadmap. We can talk a little bit about the light paper that's already out there. So if you guys um, are on your phones, you can actually, whilst listening to this Twitter space, look for the Last Remains light paper. And I'm just going to see if we can get that pinned to the Twitter space as well. So you can go out and read that light paper, see the ideas of how this game is being developed. Um, but also, we want to quickly talk about the influencers that we're speaking to, collaborations and partnerships that we're setting up, and of course the link with Earn Studios and Earn Alliance. How about we quickly talk about, well, some of the community events that we're running. So you as a gamer can't necessarily play Last Remains right now, but Jose, there's something to be said about some mini games that we're playing.
Yes, indeed. There is a mini game that we have in our Discord, and we have already over 1,000 people who have played. So seems to be quite interesting. We started giving some whitelists to promote it, and we only gave 5 whitelists in the beginning to the people who first joined, and sooner it became quite big. So the idea came to us as a way to show the game and some aspects of the game to give to our community so they can understand what the game is going to be all about and how collecting items is important, how using stealth is important, how you need to make the right decisions and be clever about it to be able to win in the game. So some of these aspects are incorporated into the mini game, and the first chapter is out. And as I said, it's been very well accepted. Everybody is welcome to come and play it. I see many faces in the audience that are already finished and actually won whitelists. We've done a Christmas campaign around it where you could find Santa and you could actually kill Santa or save Santa, and that will give you whitelist. And we did a New Year as well campaign. So right now there's 3 mini games happening. In the future, we're gonna do a chapter 2, and we're planning to release this live. So, as you said, this might be the only Twitter space we do, but the next one's gonna be with video, and we're thinking of inviting people to play it live. So we're gonna see how they play it and see what decisions they take and which paths they take. And we're gonna give whitelist and reward for people who complete it. So that's gonna be coming soon. Super excited. Everybody, please come and join the mini game. Any feedback is welcome. Uh, I'm gonna try to make chapter 2 a bit different, a bit more in what we're trying to release with the new characters, with their new items. So whoever plays these mini games will understand more the actual game, what's actually happening.
So you guys on this Twitter space heard it first. There are ways to get whitelists. There is also now, also you can see pinned on this Twitter space, our whitelist badge campaign for Last Remains. There's a linked tweet there for whitelist badges minting starting what tomorrow. And they'll continue until January 21, although there is just a 500 supply cap each day from January 19 to 21. January 18 is for whitelisted users only, but you can get a badge from 19 to 21 January. That's only in a few days' time. And of course, if you join our Discord, you can always hit up Jose directly there and get involved in one of these mini games. All right. I might go to some questions that came from the listeners. So there are some questions that were pinned by, what were asked by people on a thread, and we're just going to highlight them. The ones that we pick are just great questions, and we're going to allocate some rewards to those people who get highlighted. So thank you for your questions. I'm just going to start with a couple here. The first one is from Dream Boy at most of as efforts, who's one of the people here in the Twitter space. So thank you for your question. I'm just going to read it out here. Collaborations and partnerships are some of the most important cornerstones to help improve adoption. Can you tell us about your current partners, plans for partnerships, and what everybody stands to gain from these partnerships? Coop, did you want to have a go at this one, and I can add to that?
Yeah, sure. So right now it's quite early. We do have probably one of our main I guess you could say just KOLs, influencers, and like our esports kind of host that we'll be announcing in the next few weeks. So we're getting close to that. And we're talking to both professional esports teams on the Web2 side. So people who play Counter-Strike, League of Legends, the top, names that you can think of, we're speaking to them. And we're also speaking to the top guilds on essentially what we've seen in the bull market. And yeah, excited to essentially see, what the syndicate and announce the syndicate as we finalize everything. The cool thing is the goal and, the end goal here for all of it is actually could we get Web 2 esports and Web 3 esports, aka guilds, to go head to head in a battle royale competition, invitational only, before we launch this game. I think that'd be amazing to see. And yeah, aside from that, there's going to be a lot of other partners when it comes to chains and other ecosystem related things. But definitely, with Jeff leading the effort, would love him to chime in too.
Thanks, Coop. Yeah, I mean, if you're a gamer, like, where are you most likely to find the game that you most like? Whether it's most likely to be a franchise or a brand that you already follow and you've followed them for a long time, or you see adverts for the platform that you're playing on. And I think most likely the next most popular avenue for discovering games is going to be through influencers and streamers. Like your favorite streamer, if they're going to play some game, they make it look awesome, you want a piece of that too. So that's why we're making sure we have coverage of that. But then also, of course, well, if you're playing a game on Steam and you see some of the game that are advertised on Steam, or maybe something gets recommended to you based on like what's currently in your library, those kinds of recommendations are very, very accurate these days with just the sheer amount of data that people and game studios and publishers are able to use, which is where Earn Alliance comes in. So I don't know how many of you came across from the Earn Alliance community, but Earn Alliance and Earn Studios directly related to Last Remains. I mean, the team, well, Coop, myself, Jose, we're working on Earn Alliance and Last Remains. And so Last Remains is going to be one of the key games that we drive people to and we want people to know about. And if you've come from Earn Alliance or or um, or if you've seen the earnalliance.com game discovery portal, um, you'll notice that we're taking just a general Web3 game ecosystem success story. We're making sure that good games in Web3 are not going to go unnoticed. So, yeah, that's the other big angle that will help Last Remains as well. Okay, so um, I'll go on to the second question here. We're going to do three questions. It's very tough to pick these three, so congratulations to the ones that we picked. Sorry we couldn't get to everyone's question. The second one comes from Darmante. This question is: there is minimum information about the tokenomics of Last Remains right now. Can you give us details about utility of the token? Like, for example, can we buy NFTs with the token?
Yeah, sure. So the token is like, well, first of all, let's talk tokenomics. And tokenomics is a mix of both NFTs and the actual like crypto token, right? So I'll focus on the token since that's what it seems like the question's on. But when it comes to the NFTs, we do have a verbose amount of information on the light paper about what's going on there. The reason why you don't find as much information about the token is because we are really, I would say, just trying to make an upfront effort of not creating a token that isn't going to be a utility. And most tokens are actually securities where people are promising governance and revenue and essentially making, the community own the project in the long run. We have seen projects attempt this, and we see projects still attempting this. And it's not just because of the bear market, it's just something that we personally don't see working. And we're not going to make that decision unless if that, make that shift unless if we see and, other projects inspire such shifts. But right now we're positive that we want to focus on building a token that has a utility and that utility could be strongly used within the ecosystem. So there is no token that's going to be used for printing. There's no reward token that will be used where we just print out a bunch of token for you to use and sell on the market or a DEX. The main token utility right now that we're exploring is that we will have a token that helps people get less fees on the marketplace. So instead of paying a fee to earn alliance, you could use the token to have no fees on the marketplace. And you'd be able to use the token to join a specific competition esports pool, which I think we really need to, to chime on before the end of this AMA because that's the most exciting piece is the esports rewards and how you can actually win real money. We're not giving out tokens, quote unquote, like our own token for the rewards. It will actually be our revenue that's coming out as the esports rewards. So if you want to be participating as a guild or a team, you could use the token in order to compete for a specific guild reward pool. And then we're also considering using it for weapon upgrades and equipment upgrades. Um, we are considering voting in kind of like ideas. So if you want to present an idea to the team and vote for it, so that the community could really prove that they want something. It's not that it will actually happen, but at least it's a way to weigh your interests together. So those are the four main things that we're looking at. And it's all, to be determined as we continue to explore this.
Nice. It was a good question and a tough one, especially when all of the tokenomics haven't been, fully designed out. But there's a lot of thought going into it, and I think people will look forward to any of those updates that come out. Um, all right. One more question from the audience, and this one comes from Ayano. I think the whitelisting and free to own aspect are helping Last Remains with getting Last Remains more well known and more familiar. Can you just discuss how gameplay works a little bit? Will there be a little bit of a storyline to follow for each character? Interesting question.
Cool. I mean, if we can pin the gameplay teaser video, that'd be great while I go over this. But in terms of the gameplay, you're gonna wake up in a world. You're gonna be practically naked. You're not gonna have like weapons or any sort of equipment that you have, and you're gonna be looking around for things to survive. You're gonna be hungry. You're gonna be thirsty. And if you don't find food and water, you will eventually die. So, you're doing a few things. One is that you get this radio signal that gives you a hint of where the escape is going to be, where you're going to be picked up to eventually escape on a helicopter from the city. And it's very broad at the beginning. Like if you're in, it'll kind of tell you a major area of the area that will that I guess the rescuers are looking to pick you up, and then eventually it'll give you the detail, the exact building that the helicopter is going to be landing on. So you're getting these tips as you look for food and you get, your water, and you're also looking for weapons to take out these zombies, and you will also run into people. So there is going to be real, it's multiplayer, it's a royale, you're going to see other people, but when you see them, you're going to make that decision, like, do I go after this person or do I not want to make the noise and attract zombies while I try to take them out? And sound is very, very important as you're going through this world. If you're running around, you're going to attract zombies. So it's very, very stealth, like is where it comes to it. And finally, as you're going through everywhere, you get to make a kind of a risk decision. Do you want to go into that police station to go look for some potential NFTs and skins that you want to escape with. And that's where the decisioning is how much do you want to risk to win? Or are you going to play it safe and just go straight to the exit and try to survive and defend your post and get out of there? So yeah, definitely a lot of fun gameplay coming.
So
What was
if
the
you
tail
haven't,
end to that question?
well, no, someone, the question was, is there a bit of a storyline to follow for each character?
Yeah, each character has a profession, so they will have a background. In terms of an actual deep story, we do want to have essentially a background to the entire game. We have plans and we have an idea of what it is, but until we successfully do our mint in the next few months, that will be able to provide funding for that next phase of the game development, which will go deep into the lore.
Sweet. Thanks for the questions. That was from Dreamboy, Darmonte, and Ayano. So if you haven't already seen what's pinned on the space right now, just above my little head here and in the Twitter space, is our short game trailer. So go and click that. You can watch it even whilst you're listening to this Twitter space. I mean, how good is this technology? Um, as I'm watching through this, there's just so many questions that I have. So, I might just ask a couple. This this first zombie looks like a Chinese man. What city are we in here?
It's being taken place in Chongqing, China, which is in the Sichuan province, where all the good spicy food's at.
Love some spicy food. Probably wouldn't be too hungry when there's zombies all around though. Um, and then there's this really creepy boss character. So if you get like halfway through the video, you're seeing like this crazy ass boss monster zombie thing. Who did that? I want to know. It looks incredible.
So yeah, the team Larry wanted to devise this boss. There's going to be multiple bosses, and there's not much to tell about it. Like that's one of the only surprise that we're not gonna, give to the community is what that thing does, and you're gonna
You're
discover it on your own. So if
gonna
you
have
read the
to
light
find out the
paper,
hard way.
you gotta find out the hard way. Somebody's gonna need to post a Reddit thread on it one day.
That's actually one of the best things about games. Back in my day, I'm gonna start sounding like a grandpa for sure. Stay a while and listen. Um, was the unknowns in a game. So definitely don't give away too much information. This whole age of achievement heavy games with, like tutorials that go halfway through the game. It's yeah, it just doesn't do it for me. So having some surprises in the game, definitely the best thing. Which leads me to, well, I always want to get down to with the last 20 minutes remaining that we planned for this space. I want to get it round just to kind of doing a bit of a roundtable, just talking about games because, well, our community should be heavy with like very very passionate gamers. Um, but just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Coop or Jose, do you want to call anything out?
I would like just to touch base on something that the community's been asking, and it's the what to do with the whitelist and the NFT once this is minted. And I think Coop touched a little bit, calling it a uh, staking game. I think there is a lot to talk about this, and it's super interesting for the people who actually get to mint the character. It's something they can actually do from now until the release of the game next year. So I would love to see if we can talk a little bit about the utilities that these whitelists are gonna get to the people. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do want to ask about that. And if you're ready for a coup, I'm willing to play devil's advocate on a staking mechanism. So let's go. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Awesome. So we're essentially trying to introduce what I'm calling gamified staking, which means that when you stake your NFTs, first of all, you're going to need a character and some equipment. So this whitelist that we're doing right now is for the first half, the character, and then there will also be a chance to get equipment skins. So, you can imagine a sweet katana or some shoes, all kinds of other stuff. And combining these two, you could stake it and you could create these teams that go on what is called search and rescue. And there will be a chance that depending on the team that you put together and the equipment that you combine on that team, they will go out to the city and they may find some rewards, depending on your combination. So it's actually a gamified staking in the sense that you don't just stake your NFTs, you actually have to have the right combination and see what happens. And then you can mix and match that combination and try different things every day as you see the odds of your rewards. And we're going to do a heavy, I guess, reward pool when it comes to before the game's launch because we want the community to essentially produce all the equipment for the initial marketplace. So most of the equipment from the initial like launch of the game, which will be on the marketplace, will come through this gamified staking. But yeah, would love to hear your 2 cents, Jeff, on Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, yeah. Mine is going to come from the non-crypto native gamer's perspective. What the hell is staking? Why should I care? And so anybody who's like a Web3 native gamer, maybe they'd understand that there's a little bit of overlap. In fact, I'd say not many people would understand this concept that staking can take many different forms. Staking is, let's call it the technological capability or like a concept that came from DeFi or just tokens, right? That you can lock up a certain percentage of the tokens. What the hell what the hell does staking have to do with gaming? And what are some, examples of staking or the use of game assets and locking them up in a game loop, perhaps in an idle way? I'm almost answering my own question here, but how are gamers, like non-native gamers, already doing staking to some degree?
Yeah, it's I mean you just said it, non-idle the idle games. So idle games is something like Tap Tap Millionaire would be like a good example of the game of where you would have these different, characters or these different areas that are doing things while you're gone. And of course, you didn't have to quote unquote stake like we do in crypto, which is kind of merging the two, and we could kind of talk about the differences. But when you, one of my favorite games right now is like auto chess. So whenever an automated action occurs after you kind of pre-configure your plan and it goes and plays for you, that during that moment you get the results. So that's like an example of like what would happen in staking, which would be you pre-configure your information, if it's your assets, if your characters, etc., and something occurs. In the Web3 world, mostly what occurs is you get rewards, you get more tokens. But in the Web2 world, usually it's progressing gameplay, it's leveling up, it's also producing fake gold and other things like that. But would love to hear your perspective, Jeff.
Yeah, I think it's important that we use the technology or like what's commonly known as staking. But also, I mean, hopefully this is something new for people in this Twitter space is that there's lots of different parallels to staking. And I'd say the weakness of just using the word staking is it's kind of like telling um, a web user in 2000 to use HTTPS and instead of using HTTP. I don't think a normal user would know what that means. Less I mean care what that means. But if someone wants to send an encrypted message, right? If you want to tell someone you can send an encrypted message with by doing it this way, that means a lot more to the average user. And in the same way, um, the best word that I can come up with for staking for game characters it has to be questing. And so, we've seen this in a couple of the idle games out there. Is you take a character and you send it on a quest. It might be gone for a day, it might be 7 days before it comes back with some loot. but you can't do anything else with that character in the meantime. And that is a form of staking. So yeah, some of
Some
this like
people are
go on.
some people are calling it offline grinding.
Perfect. Yeah. What's really popular these days, like AFK grinding, right?
Yeah.
If
Hopefully
anyone, yeah,
ChatGPT could do that for us one day.
there's even MMOs in the past, like any MMO that had like a, let me think, a beast master, something that was a bit of a summoner, is going to have like this passive creature that is, doing some of the battling whilst you're just, running around, and it's picking up the loot for you. Very, very similar kind of thing. But yeah, we only have, 10 or so minutes left in this space. I might just call out anyone on the space. You heard it here first. It's probably the first ever, public AMA that we're doing with, well, I know it's the first Last Remains AMA that we're doing on Twitter. You can get involved. You can pick up one of these Last Remains whitelist badges. It's pinned right now on the Twitter space. Over the next 3 days, right? You either already have a whitelist, or you can be one of the first 500 people to pick one up each day between the 19th and the 21st. Also, you can find Jose's Discord channel. Discord is like the heart of community for Web3. Go and find Jose there. You'll even find me there. You can play the minigame, right? We've already had 1,000 people play this minigame, and that is a way to get a whitelist badge as well. Okay, so with the 10, 12 minutes left, I just wanted to go right into gaming. So, Coop, Jose, feel free to chime in here. If we have any of our Own Alliance or Last Remains friends in the space, they can also come up on stage. I want to talk about just zombie games. There have been so many different zombie games. Let's say the most popular ones out there, or that I know about, would be Left 4 Dead, um, Dying Light, Dead Island. These are the ones I can name off the top of my head that I've played. Um, Please tell me one of you have played one of those games. Coop, Jose.
I'll be honest. Nope.
Okay, so Left 4 Dead. So when I heard about Last Remains, well, I think most people these days know about Battle Royale. But when they think of zombie survival, the most popular game out there for zombie survival had to have been Left 4 Dead. So I'm thinking back to the good days of Left 4 Dead. What is the gameplay like? Well, you start out, it's multiplayer. You can have up to 4 people play, and your aim is to escape the zone, whichever zone you're in. So there's a parallel straight away with Last Remains. But to get to the extraction point by helicopter, as it were, um, you need to make your way through hordes of zombies. And each of these maps is designed to be difficult to maneuver. It's designed to have, certain checkpoints where either a horde of zombies come through or a boss zombie comes out. And in fact, in Left 4 Dead, I believe there are 5 or 6 different kinds of unique zombies, and these unique zombies were kind of like mini bosses. So you'd always freak out and be like, the tank is here, or the jockey's here. The jockey's this tiny little zombie. It's kind of funny. It comes out of nowhere. It moves really quickly, and it jumps on one of the team members' heads, and they lose all control. And um, the once they lose control, they rely on the other people in the team. So that, say there's 4 of you, right? Um, they have to shoot the jockey, which is a very tiny little target on their team member. And if you wait too long, well, that team member gets incapacitated and may not be able to help you get to the end of the level. And along the way, you can pick up med kits and things like that. There wasn't a hunger or a thirst mechanic, which will just add to that stress in Last Remains. So I
So
certainly look
stressful.
forward to it. Yes. crazy
Yeah,
stressful, right? Just trying to stay alive from zombies, let alone thirst and hunger.
yeah. I think my main, at least like it was, I would consider it a battle royale that didn't like break the break through as strong as it could have was DayZ, if you guys played that one. And that had the thirst mechanic, like the whole hunger mechanic on it, and then with the, 100 people on a map with zombies. It was intense. It was insane. I think it was about 100. It might not have gone that high. But yeah, that stress level when you're trying to look for food while you're just trying to get to an objective is I almost don't like it, but it also just does it right for me. I'm like kind of thinking about it right now, like,
Well, turn on some of that sultry music again and get Coop really weirded out.
I think for me, it was one of these Call of Duties that had an expansion where you can start shooting zombies, and it
Ah,
became
that's it.
super popular. And it was wave after wave after wave, and after that, they all start integrating this zombie mode. That was like one of the highlights of zombies for me. It really changed. Even though it was first person shooter and it was all about killing and not stealth, it was super fun to do it and killing zombies. Now stealth, and I would have to say The Last of Us, and now that the series is out in HBO, it it is quite big. It's great to see games going into the big screen.
what? Last of Us has a series on HBO?
Yes, it just came out.
Jeez, that's pretty cool. I need to play that game. I feel pretty bad that I haven't played it yet. It looks absolutely gorgeous.
The story
I
is amazing.
can't say I have played it, but I know how prolific it is and how well known it is. But I think just generally in, well, mainstream culture, pop culture, zombies are, well, everyone loves a good zombie show. I mean, Kingdom, that's the Korean one. Love that one. Um, a lot of people know what is it, The Walking Dead. I mean, that had to be one of the biggest shows for the longest time. And then like crossing that kind of mainstream culture with how gaming and the biggest games right now are um, battle royale games. Yeah, I just don't see how this is not going to be just the craziest concept. And when people find out about it, there's no chance they're not going to give it a try. So
Well, I got a question. What was the first time you guys got introduced to a zombie that wasn't Halloween? Hopefully it wasn't Halloween because I feel like that'd be a cop out, but maybe it's Halloween. What was the first time that you guys like remember seeing your first zombie?
you just made me wet myself a little bit just thinking about it. Oh, it's, I gotta say, probably the first version of a zombie that I've ever seen is a mummy. I don't know if that's a cop out, but seeing the mummy when I obviously wasn't old enough to see it, it's an Egyptian zombie, no?
I think you just blew my mind. I didn't think mummies were zombies, but you're totally right.
Well, if you remember the original the Mummy film, and we were definitely too young for the age rating at the time to watch it, but that definitely made me a little scared little boy. And you know what? I kind of enjoyed it. So yeah, that was my first experience anyway. Jose?
I I don't remember the day, but I remember clear as day the day that I saw somebody selling a zombie survival kit, and it was for real. That that was like, hey, come and buy a zombie survival kit for when it happens. And it was like serious, you have to have this, and some people were buying it and having it in the house for when the zombie apocalypse was coming. So that really marked my life. It was, I think,
Well, how
4 years
old were you?
ago. Not that young. It was not long ago, and it was in America, and they were selling it for real, like in Target, and Not joking. It was like, hey, buy this zombie survival kit. We might save your life one day. It was like, whoa,
Wow,
this is real.
that's pretty crazy. I mean,
We
mine
need to
was
make that.
definitely,
We need
huh?
to make that a droppable item in Last Remains. Jose, just
Yeah,
like
zombie
detail out
survival
what
kit.
this zombie survival kit was. Build it into the game.
We'll put it in the Target if we can get a Target in Chongqing. Yeah, mine was definitely Dawn of the Dead, which was I don't remember when it came out, but I remember like sneaking to like go see it. Like I remember my parents like weren't, wanting me to see too much at that age, and yeah, it was the coolest movie ever because I don't know which version it was it the old one or the new one, but it was the one where they like all got into the mall and like barricaded themselves and like they were just, I mean that's the best place to be, right? Like of course you want to be in
Would
the mall
definitely
with all
go to
that
the
stuff.
mall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the problem is that's where everybody would go. So like you're probably just gonna like, it's gonna be human
Actually,
versus
that is
human
a
for the first like
really,
month.
really good question. Like, ask your friends in a zombie survival situation, who is going to do what, and you'll super quickly pick out the one who's gonna betray you. It's a great topic. Before the next Twitter space, or well, game stream even, bring this up with your friends in a real life zombie survival. Who would pick up which role? And I think some people, the gung ho ones, they would go for the scout role. You know, you need a scout. You know, you need someone to be in charge of, say, well, supplies and food. You know, someone's going to have to be in charge of, well, security and defenses. Um, and you know who's going to be in charge of keeping an eye on the guys most likely to betray you. So, oh, I'm kind of like wishing that there's going to be some kind of temporary teaming up and betrayal mechanics in Last Remains, and I can almost see it happening already. Hint, hint.
Yep, yep. We'll see. I mean, in some play tests, people have been trying to team up, even though there's no team mode. But yeah, I'm excited to see if the designers take the game to cooperative. Would be pretty cool.
All right, we're coming up to the end of the Twitter space. Thank you all for being here and getting a little scared with me. Jose, do you want to make any last call outs for where people should go, pick up whitelist badges just before we wrap up and start turning on that sultry music again?
Well, first of all, tomorrow is the mint for the people who has whitelist. So if you've been lucky enough to win a whitelist so far, tomorrow you're able to mint the whitelist badge, and this will give you characters in the future. Second of all, we're gonna keep doing some more competitions and giving whitelist for more people to own these characters in the future and these Earn Alliance badges. So stay tuned, keep participating. There's plenty of chances. Even if you win one whitelist, that doesn't mean you cannot participate in the competitions. You can get whitelisted again, and you can get chances for more characters. So keep on participating. And we expect to be a full sellout because after we do the whitelist tomorrow, we're gonna open to the public. So anybody who is not hasn't participated and hasn't won anything, they're gonna have the chance to get it. But that's gonna be first come, first serve during 4 days. So set your alarms, even though if it's not in your time zone, it's definitely worth it. Try to get it. It will get you a character down the road. So just come and do it. And then one last call. We've seen some people trying to get with multiple accounts. Even if you get these whitelist with various accounts, we're gonna start checking IPs. We're gonna start checking emails. We're gonna start checking a lot of things from our end to make sure that it's fair for everyone. As Coop mentioned, we're building raw. We're trying to make this for everybody, and we don't want to spoil it with some people trying to take advantage of building many accounts. So uh, just try to be fair, try to have everybody involved, and we look forward for you to come and mint and get involved with us.
Thanks, Jose, for mentioning that. And he mentioned barely any of the protection we had. So we really, really do mean it that we want to put in the love of like protecting the community and making sure everybody gets something that attempted to. So, the last thing I'll just mention, which we didn't cover, that I just wanted to shout out, if there's one thing you want to remember about Last Remains, is that this project is dedicating 50% of all revenue that is made to be reinvested into esports rewards. So literally half of anything that is made is going back to the community, period. And you guys are going to compete for it. So there's no other project that I know that's doing that. I think, some of the biggest Web3 projects should be doing this. We're going to hopefully start that trend. So that's one thing and a fact that you guys should walk away with. But otherwise, yeah, looking forward to taking out some zombies together one day.
Sweet. All right. Looking forward to doing the next one on a YouTube stream or on Twitch. Have you got any more of that sultry music for us to associate with zombies and really confuse us? Ryan? Play us out. Give us 2 minutes of this. Thank you. See you all next time.